computer. Awesome. Well, welcome, and thank you for being here.
Okay.
Welcome to the Inner Circle. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Yeah.
We're good.
Yeah.
Okay. Inner Circle. We're here to create habits, okay, that'll impact your life. Who we are. We'll go over this quickly. This is your leadership team is Phil Wickworth, Scott Lewis, and John Gold. And it's a combination of practical and formal education. Okay. We have 120 years of lifting, which that means we're really old. Okay. We've been hello, Amy. How you doing?
Hey guys.
Welcome. We've worked with over 100 people. All of us have done some personal training, and then we have degrees and national certification. Our connection is wellness and fitness. We met each other in the gym, but we got together and put this curriculum together. Okay, what we are not, we are not here to fix anybody. Okay, and the main reason we're not here to fix anybody is because we don't think you're broken. We're here to help you facilitate, okay, give you information that you can create some habits and encouragement. Always felt that there's a power in the group and accountability and encouragement. Our why, we're partnering with people, okay. We're partnering with people to become the best version of themselves, creating habits of growth. Okay. We think the best you's inside. We think the best us is inside. And we are partnering. We use the word partnering because we're participating in these commitments as well. Okay. So that's a little quick background of who we are. And now it's my pleasure to turn it over to John Gold, who takes care of our physical habits and task. John.
All right, we'll go ahead and get hitting the physical side. And the whole reason we're trying to cover this on the physical aspect of things is because we want you to live a great long life and die fast. And in a minute, I'll go over how that is different than how a lot of our current health care system is. First we're going to focus a little bit on lifespan, which is how long you live and making sure that that's as long and good as possible. But also we want to work on your health span, which is actually how well you live while you're alive. An example of what you don't want is the Greek myth Tithonus, who was someone who was granted eternal life, but he viewed it as a curse because he continued to age. So he had all of the negatives of the long life and had to live that way forever. Okay, which is not what we want. We want that to be as good as possible. This graph is kind of showing what we want to talk about, and we'll be going over in the course. And it comes from Peter Attia's book, Outlive. If you look at that on the vertical axis, you have health span, or how healthy you are, how good your life is. The horizontal axis, you're looking at how long you're living. So obviously we want those two things to be as long as possible, as big as possible. So the white line indicates how we typically age with no intervention of any kind. And it shows your life going on and slightly getting worse gradually over time until finally you die. The blue line, which is really interesting here, shows how we typically intervene with a lot of our normal health care. Okay, and it shows your life is slightly longer and also continues to get worse. And then at the very end, we tend to help extend it a little bit, but you're living longer with a lower quality of life, which isn't what we want. What we want is the red line, which shows your life going on and slightly getting better, your health span going up slightly, and staying up as you age, your life being extended somewhat, and then as it's going, you then finally drop off and die fast. Okay, which is how we want it, living good and dying fairly quickly. Now we can extend life some. We can't obviously do it forever, but we can make it much, much better. Um, the way we tend to handle things is somewhat confusing. You know, if someone gets lung cancer, we don't tell them, we don't wait till they get it and then say, maybe you should stop smoking. What we do is we tell you not to smoke. And so we need to begin doing the things you need to do to prevent illness before you get the illness. That would be the way we really want to do things. So the four horsemen of death, the four things that tend to kill most people, plus a bonus one, are going to be heart disease, cancer, neurodegenerative diseases like dementia and Alzheimer's, and then type 2 diabetes. And then the bonus one, if you can call it that, is falling and accidents that happen along the way. What are the best ways we can prevent those? Because those are all fairly well tied together. Number one, we need to monitor blood pressure and keep that good. Blood pressure is going to be a big one for all of the major diseases that we tend to get. And obviously, everybody's heard 120 over 80, but people tend to say if you're anywhere near that, you're okay. That's a high. Like we need to keep it under that. Blood sugar is another big one. Insulin resistance is what occurs if you let your blood sugar get out of control, and that can lead to pretty much all of those big four. Smoking is another one. That's easy. We won't cover that one here a lot. That's just a chemical irritation of the blood vessels, which can lead to a lot of diseases. And then LDL cholesterol, or what's called ApoB. It's slightly different than what we've always heard as far as cholesterol, but it is something we need to pay attention to. And then the final one, which is going to help with falling, and we're going to address here, is weakness. Being weak makes you more susceptible to falling, and if you do fall, you're not going to be able to handle it or recover nearly as well. So the areas that we're going to focus on in this course to help with those things are, number one, going to be body composition, which is mostly done with diet, but we can get some exercise in there as well too. Strength. Strength is going to be a major one, and most people think it's only for athletes or only for bodybuilders, but everyone needs to stay as strong as they can as they age, and it's going to help in pretty much every area of your life. And then finally, movement. Being up and physically moving keeps you alive longer and makes your life better as you age. So that incorporates or encompasses aerobic fitness and just general mobility, or the ability to move. So we look at these things and we tend to think of them as, you have to improve greatly in every area of your life. But what we're going to kind of work on is what's called it's a fancy term, but the aggregation of marginal gains. And this came about from the British cycling team who hadn't won any major events in years and years, and they hired a new coach. And this new coach looked at things differently than most coaches do. He said, instead of focusing on one or two areas and try to get a lot better in those, what we're going to do is look at several areas and try to get 1% better at those. And then those small improvements will add up over time and give them an edge over the competition. So they did things like, changing their bicycle seats. They took their pillows to the hotels with them. So they were sleeping in their own pillows and blankets and things like that. They painted the inside of their trailer white to look for dust and things that could get into the mechanical components of the bike. And all of those little improvements added up to a lot of improvements, and they ended up winning 10 gold medals in a very short amount of time. So we're going to try to give you small tools and tactics that you can use that will make it much easier to improve your life in some way and be able to sustain it instead of what everyone else tells you to do, which change every area of your life and make these drastic changes that you can't handle. So how do we do that? We focus on habits. Our goal when you leave this program is for you to have a few new habits that you do every day. And this quote, I love this quote. It says, we first make our habits and then our habits make us. So rather than trying to get you to focus on results as your goals, we want you to focus on the habits that actually lead to those results. And people who are successful, they do every day what everyone else just does occasionally. They do it just a little bit every day instead of going crazy and trying to do all sorts of hard things every now and then, which pretty much does nothing. So, our goal is not to tell you what to do necessarily, but to teach you how to think about the different factors that determine good health and then find ways to live those new habits daily. Okay. So we're going to give you a few tests that I want you to do over the next week or so between now and our first meeting, just to give you an idea of where you're at. And these will all have some sort of indication of, where you're at in that area. So the first test we have is for body composition. And all you're going to do is measure your waist around the navel, right in that navel area, and you are going to compare that to your height. Okay, so you want your waist to be 1/2 of your height. Okay, and this goes for men and women. I know we store body fat differently, but it's still a very good indicator. So, our example is if you're 5'8" tall, you'll be 68 inches tall. Your waist needs to be under 34 inches. Okay, and on a scale, we have a 0 to 3 scale. You get 0 points if your waist is over 10 inches more than half of your height. You get a 1 if it's 4 to 9 inches over, a 2 if you're 1 to 3 inches over, and you score perfect with a 3 if it's half your height or less. Okay, a lot of people are shocked by this one, but it's a pretty good indicator just to where your body composition sits. Okay, our next test is going to be for strength, and this is just push-ups. Okay. Now, the reason I like this test is your body weight's included, so it also has some body composition with it. All right. So it is just do as many push-ups as you can in one time and make sure they're good quality push-ups where you go all the way down to the floor and lock your elbows out all the way. So if you get 0 push-ups or you won't even try and you're like, no, I know I won't get any, you get a 0. If you do 1 to 5, you get a 1. 5 to 10 is a 2. And a perfect score is 10 or more. Okay. And then our final test is going to be a 1 mile walk run, just to see how fast you can do it. So all you need to do is get on a track or find a mile course and get on there and just go as fast as you can. If you are not physically ready for that and you know it, or you hate the idea of doing it, you get a 0. Okay. Automatic 0, and that's okay. If you do it in over 15 minutes, then you get a 1. Not the best time, but you did it. And then a 2 would be 10 to 15 minutes, and a 3 would be under 10 minutes. So this is obviously going to be the one that tests your movement ability. Okay. And so that's really all we're looking at on the physical side for now. We're going to get into, as we do this, the habits that come nutritionally that are going to help with getting our body composition under control, which will help with the strength to body weight ratio and things like that. We're going to look at different strength movements you can do, how to apply it in some sort of way that will be beneficial to you, and then different things you can do movement wise as far as aerobic conditioning and mobility work to help be able to move that body, especially once you get some new strength. You lose a little bit of body fat, and the next thing you know, your physical health will be much, much better. And now I am going to turn this over to.
Okay, Scott, you're up.
Okay, thank you, John. I appreciate the input. What I want to touch on with my part of this, my task in this, is to help you to realize the importance of your spiritual fitness as well. As you see right here on the screen, anything we embark on, if you neglect the spiritual side, you will never be happy. You will never be satisfied. This is a part of my personal testimony. And I do know that without building a spiritual side of your life, things are going to fall short. You may attain some physical things. You may attain even through Phil some mental output look and some changes of how you think about things, but you cannot, no matter where you're at, you cannot disregard the spiritual. Now, one thing that I know Phil had mentioned before in our getting ready for this that I want to bring up that we haven't said is this. In any of these three areas, it's important to realize that the variety of people who may be selecting to get on with us, you may be at different parts in different places in your life in one of these areas. Don't shortcut the fact that, okay, spiritually, for example, some of the things that I may share, you may be ahead of that. Well, that's okay, but don't neglect the other two. So, you know, let's look at all of these things because it's about wholeness. It's about being a complete person. So one of the things that I like to try and do, and one of the things that I work on doing, is taking the Word of God and not only applying it to your spiritual life, but applying it to your physical or your business pursuits or whatever you're doing. And what my hope is, and what I believe will happen is that these spiritual concepts will begin to be more real to you because you see some physical application. And so it doesn't just to the picture there, it doesn't just work in your spiritual body, but as you're working on losing weight, getting in shape, and things like that, the Word of God, we're going to use it from what you want most over what you want now. And I think that's one of the things we're going to be working on because, again, one of the things that makes us probably different is we don't tell you you're going to attain something quickly. This is going to be a series of small changes and and some of these changes on my end, especially, is going to be how you think, because your life will always move in the direction of your strongest thoughts. And so, how you think about yourself, what you think about yourself, if you may be embarking on this and you feel like, hey, you took John's test and you just failed miserably all the way around, the real temptation is to feel really bad about yourself. It's to and my job is to get you out of that. It's to get you out of the realm of what I call stinking thinking and get you in a spiritual mindset of how God sees you and what God is with you and how he wants to help you to attain these goals through the Word of God. And so what we'll be doing in all three areas is we'll be creating some daily habits. In my end, it'll be on the spiritual side. It won't be anything big because I believe just like what John was referring to on the physical, I'm not going to be having you read 2 or 3 chapters of the Bible a day. I'm going to be just introducing a scripture, and I'm going to try and help apply it to the pursuits you have, but also for you to not just use it to that, but also use it for your spiritual growth and to see, maybe challenge, wherever you're at in the spiritual pursuit. You may not even be a believer, but it's about seeing how this applies and how this applies to my life. So we will be going through this. There'll be some small tasks that you do. It'll be very simple. It won't take a lot of time. But again, just like the other things that the other two guys have mentioned, over time, applying some of these principles, you will begin to see change. And, I want to go back. Let me look here. I want to go back and I want to take John's slide right here. And I want you to, we were talking about longevity and quality of life. You can take that same picture there and you can take that red line, and that is what I believe is God's will for your life. It's to be extended, to have a full, Christ said, I came that you may have life and have it in abundance. That's what that red line is. It is an abundance of life. And then you get to a point in life where you've run your race, you're satisfied and you're ready. You're done. And so this is what all three of us, that's what we're trying to help over time people to attain. So with that, I will turn this back to Phil for him to wrap up.
Awesome. Thanks, Scott. All right. So we're going to land this plane. And sorry, I had get to my slides. My responsibility is mental wellness. Okay. Mental wellness. Okay. Or fitness. It's lessons in perspective. Okay. It starts with you have incredible worth. We talked about that. And I'd like to expound a little bit what Scott said. we believe, it's our fundamental belief that growth makes us happy. And the three areas you can apply what we're going to give you financially, relationship wise, but the three that we feel the strongest about that create a foundation of a happy life is spiritual, mental, and physical. And if you're way ahead, we have an Olympic athlete on here, and let's say they have a void spiritually and they're struggling mentally. We're not asking them to decrease their physical regiment. Okay. In fact, we won't have anything for them physically. What we're asking them to do is increase the other two circles of their life. So apply that. We're going to have people on here that are way past our fundamental beliefs in spiritual. Don't digress, just focus on the other two. So everyone finds joy in pursuing the best version of themselves. We absolutely don't want you to be someone else. We'll have a whole lesson on comparison and how negative that is. Okay. And then one of the reasons we want you to be the best you can be, the best version of yourself, is we believe that you'll be the happiest, the most content, and you'll also impact everybody else around you. The better version of myself that I am actually has a positive to people around me. Mental fitness. We found out, okay, actually through graphs and neural pathways and scans, that we can control our thoughts. We have about 60 to 80,000 random thoughts a day in the human brain. If we don't intentionally discipline and control our thoughts, the majority of those have found out to be negative, which does not lead to quality of life. Therefore, we're going to give you some simple tasks on how to train your thoughts and how to intentionally put positive thoughts in. This happened to me Friday. I thought it was really good just to give you a vibe. Picture on the right is not my granddaughter, but my granddaughter's 2.5 months old. My daughter-in-law is absolutely fantastic of filming the grandchildren and sharing with everybody. On Saturday morning, I woke up and my granddaughter raised her head at 2.5 months old, and through huge encouragement from her mom, rolled to her back. Everybody went ecstatic. Okay. The love, that was given and the responses. It was interesting because 12 hours earlier, I was in Blue Springs, Missouri, up in Kansas City, watching a very elite track meet of high school athletes. And I saw those athletes all from first place to eighth place. Amazing how fast and efficient the human body can move around a track. And we applauded for the winner. Unfortunately, the fourth place guy was running really fast too. And it made me reflect on, as a child, how every little minute step is celebrated in our life. I can't wait until my granddaughter, sets up, until she stands up, until she takes her first step. I know these will be monumental, celebratory moments. Okay. But unfortunately, as we become adult, nobody applauds our progress. That 1% that John's talking about has to come intrinsically motivated. And that's what we're here to do. We're here to help you take those 1%. We're going to measure. Okay. You can keep your measurements confidential, but we're going to measure because if it's important, you measure it. And if you measure it and you improve, it's worth celebrating, and it builds confidence. What we value, we take care of. The car on the left probably hasn't seen a lot of washing or waxing or taking care of. This is a perspective slide. We feel that the best you is incredible. That's what we feel like. And sometimes even people that are very giving forget the daily maintenance of themselves. And what we're going to do is give you some habits that can easily fit into your life routine that takes care of yourself. So self-esteem, how you see yourself, is really important. We're going to talk about that next time. 3 things that build our self-esteem: character, our strengths, and our weaknesses. We all have them. And improvement in all 3 of these areas and balance in all 3 of these areas. So I would encourage you don't have a mental test this week. but sit down and write some things that you're very proud of. We all have gifts. We all have things we bring to the table. Also list some things, improving on our weaknesses is also really makes us feel better about ourselves. The reason I put character in here is I do a little test when we go self-esteem in the classroom. And I ask people to think of someone that's really impacted their life. I ask them to describe them in 5 words to me. Then I go around the classroom and all my students, 30 students talk about, actually I have about 120, talk about why they chose that person. 99.9% of the reason they chose that person are character issues. That person was caring, that person was kind, that person was wise. Okay, it wasn't they had a lot of money, it wasn't they were really fit, and nothing wrong with these things. But as we try to accomplish our successes, make sure we spend a lot of time on our character so we have significance. Okay, so that's it. The formula of success and significance is not complicated. We try to make it complicated. Okay, it's not complicated, it's basic. 2 + 2 = 4, but it's repetitive, it's consistency. Okay, so it's stuff we have to do daily. So what the pill, metaphorically speaking, the pills we're going to ask you to swallow, and we're not going to ask you to swallow any pills, but the tasks are going to be very, very palatable. Okay, we're building self-trust and we're building routines, and that's what we're going to get into. Okay, so what's my first task? Join a huddle. Okay, I call it huddle. We all know I have a football background, because here's what happens. Next Sunday is lesson 1. We get in a huddle, we give you a task, just like calling a play, and then for 4 days, you get to try to execute it. And you're not on your own, because on Wednesday, you can come back to the huddle, get encouragement, a pat on the back, and you can get the new assignment. What we're asking you to do, so all you have to do is email, okay, Inner Circle team, and say I'm in. But I'll be honest with you, you're going to get, by simply being on today, you're going to get the link to next week. Okay, what am I committing to? Well, for 4 weeks, we're going to have 2 classes a week. Not this week. Wednesday night is a repeat of today. But starting next Sunday, we have 8 classes. That's going to happen in 4 weeks. 2 classes a week. You'll get your assignment. What we've asked you to do is either be live on Sunday or be live on Wednesday. We'll send you a recording of the next day. Okay? And that's all your commitment. We'll also be emailing you a task sheet, very basic, and it's simply for you to keep track of your process. Okay, and that is the kickoff to our first class. If you have questions, feel free to email or text one of us, and we really appreciate you being on. Okay, it's great to see you. And if you have someone, we send out about 35 emails, and we know we have several people that are going to jump on Wednesday. If Wednesday fits their schedule better, we'll see them at Wednesday at 8:30 on Central Time. If you have somebody that you think, I think this person would enjoy this process, just keep in mind it's money back guaranteed. Okay, 100%, because it's free. Okay, so feel free. Amy and Susan, we really appreciate you jumping on. You do not, no commitment as far as, getting back on Wednesday. We'll send you a link for next Sunday. If you'd like to get on Wednesday, you want to bring a friend, we'll even give you 10% of their, 10% off of yours. Okay. We good? We good?
Good.
Okay. Everybody have a great weekend.
Good
Talk to you
information.
later. Good deal. We'll see you later. Have a
Okay.
great day.
Bye.